Bahashim Yeshai will rock the God of Israel, and we have a serious lesson for you this evening. Surviving of Christ Church, we would like to say all praises be to the Almighty. Haya Bahashim Yeshai will rock the God of Israel, and we have a serious lesson for you this evening. Surviving the end of the world. Okay, one of the more, I would say, eye-opening lessons that we would have done up until this point. What I need you all to do, if you can, and y'all doing a great job with it, as you come on in, hit the like button. This way it'll drive more traffic towards this particular lesson. All right. Now, what I wanted to go into today, brothers and sisters, I'd like to thank you all for your Sabbath attendance and all you do to support the work. I want to first thank you, and we thank the Most High for you. We humbly appreciate all you do to support the work. And that's a segue into me talking about the Hebrew and Bible Academy that begin tomorrow, early in the morning, our first week of the Hebrew and Bible Academy, the creation of the universe. What we try to do with this academy is in academia, or whether or not you're a person who didn't finish school. Okay, it doesn't matter whether or not you studied theologically to understand the Bible on a theologian or scholarly level. And that's what we did. We put more work in this academy so that it can actually condescend to the lowest level and speak to those of high spiritual acumen to bring us all in one order, one understanding when it comes to God's word, the Most High's word. And what we also like to do, and I'm glad the Most High have given us that platform with the academy, brothers and sisters. What it allows us to do is to teach uncensored, to be able to bring forth information on the news and not have to worry about some pushback with some draconian rules that will actually stop us from actually, bringing things forth unfiltered. Because the enemy, he's operating to make sure that this information is stagnated or interfered with before you begin to understand it. So we have Shaphat with the news. He comes in with the news and whatever's going on in the earth. Because keep in mind, America's media right now is censored. There's a lot of information that's happening on the outside of the United States. The only news that you're going to get in the United States right now is to vote, racial tension, riots, Black Lives Matter. That's what they've condensed the news down to in America. But there's real-time news going on outside of America, okay, unfiltered. And it so happened that Shaphat is on the outside of this right now, and he's accumulating a lot of news prophetically that we should know. And if Americans knew, we would understand how short of a time we have before judgment comes to Babylon. But what the academy does, it allows us to actually go in and give you that real-time news that's censored through Western American television, to give you the information of how this scamdemic is affecting the whole earth and its true agenda. Okay? We have some specific topics that's going to get our nation together within this academy, okay? Not just our nation, but the Gentiles who believe in the God of Israel, to get this world together when it comes to the new world to come, the remnant, to understand the kingdom to come. We have a few lessons that we're going to go into and highlight that we're adding in this academy, and I hope you all can join us, okay? Of course, we go into tomorrow the creation of the universe. Who's God? Who are the lesser gods he created? Was there a revolt in heaven before earth was created? And is that cataclysm, is that conflict still playing out in the earth today between good and evil? Well, we're going to go further into that tomorrow and first highlighting who is our God. And how is our God, the creator of the universe, different than the gods of the nations, the gods of the Arabs, the gods of the Europeans? What makes the God of Israel different? Well, it's first going into the scriptures and breaking down his power in the beginning, which will segue us into our second week lesson. Our second week lesson in the academy will be God's purpose for man and woman. Because in the creation of the universe, the Most High started with the first family. And there's an eternal purpose for family that began back then. Just that through feminism, through Satanism, through Luciferian doctrine, through a straight rebellious type of teaching, indoctrination within our earth, we have went away from our original purpose with God. Okay? So it's our eternal roles, according to why we were created, man and woman. And by putting it that way, it lets man, woman to understand what our priorities should be when it comes to family, understanding that that's a representation of the image of God that made us all from the beginning. So second week, we're really going to delve into God's purpose for man and woman, our eternal roles. Not being accusatory, not attacking people for what they didn't know, whatever the case is, because we've all made mistakes. But to get us back on track before the end, because we're in the end. And we have to do what's needed for the little time we have left. Another lesson that we have actually put inside this particular academy is Rome holding the scarlet dagger. The identification of Rome and how Rome's intention, which when it was established and gained its power, Rome is Esau. That they knew they had a certain amount of time, which is the last 35 Jubilees that was prophesied from Christ's birth, to kill off the elect, mainly the children of Israel, pointing to Judah first. That's why they wanted to kill Christ. Before the judgment. They knew they would have a certain amount of time before the judgment. And it was Rome, and it's still Rome, holding the scarlet dagger. And we're going to go into Rome in our breakdown and our total lesson in week 5. We're going to do it in week 5. Who's Edom? Rome holding the scarlet dagger. We're going to show you that molestation and all that, it's not by chance. Everything they're doing is a religious sacrifice to their God. That's why there'll always be children molested to Moloch or to their God Samael. It'll always happen because it's part of their religious traditions and sacrificing to their God. We're going to go into that because they wanted to kill Christ, folks. It was Herod, the Edomites, the Idumean, that sought Christ's life at birth. That was a religious sacrifice they were looking to do to kill the Savior before we would awaken to bring forth the information like you hear today. So we're going to chronologize that historically to show you Rome's true intentions against God's people. Rome holding the scarlet dagger. And since we've been getting so much I wouldn't say pushback, but response from some of our teachings on the history that they had concerning Christ's genealogy, linking to the fact that Joseph, his father, links to the kings of Judah. We're going to go into a lesson on the kings as well as the kings of Israel. And we're going to title this one, when we break down Christianity, The Immaculate Deception. We're going to do a complete lesson in the academy titled The Immaculate Deception. Give you the dates on when they begin to propagandize that, the same way they're doing this scamdemic right now. They use propaganda to instill it into the mindsets of people. And instead of an immaculate conception, you're going to find, when you do the research on who was behind this, you're going to find it was an immaculate deception. That's going to be in our Hebrew and Bible Academy. We have 3 or 4 brand new lessons that you don't want to miss. And for the sake of getting brothers and sisters in before it's over, okay, before we dove in, because we're going to just be focused on the lesson starting tomorrow. We got Elder Lawyer starting off with the Hebrew 101, breaking down the letters and how you can begin to understand Hebrew. And folks, we're going directly in with Shabbat, with the news, and then I'm going to come in with myself and Elder Lawyer with You Got It, the creation of the universe. So we have our administration that's going to stand on standby and work around the clock, okay? If you want to enroll, you can do it right after the academy. Just go to historytimes.org. This is one academy for the next 3 months you don't want to miss. And keep in mind, we're doing this. We're going to do this in the midst of everything that's going on right now. So that means not only will you have our Sabbath lessons, you'll also have, brothers and sisters, real-time news and prophetic understanding in the midst of what they are about to do. And that's why I titled this right before the academy, folks, tomorrow, because it's like what I've tried to do through the Spirit of the Most High is transition where we go straight from our Wednesday class into our Sabbath and tie it right into the lesson we're going into for the academy. So it's like flawlessly transitioning, enlightening, giving information that's needed in real time. So that's how we've structured this. So what I suggest you do, because when the news is going on and certain things are happening outside the earth and all that, and you're not doing anything on Sunday, come in Sunday and check out what's going on. Get in the academy and get that information, because as you can see, just like this COVID thing, narrative change from day to day, there's new news coming out every single day. Go to historytimes.org and enroll. Okay. Now, it's one thing I wanted to show real quick, right? Let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up. And it's really a transition. We're transitioning. All this news I'm about to go into really is linking directly into what we'll be talking about today. Let me pull it up before I finally bring the lawyer in. Historytimes.org. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I... hold on. I'm going to make sure that I put the link in the chat so you all can have it too, okay? We're going into that. There's a few things in the news. AOL, right? There's a few things I'm going to show y'all real quick that's going to transition, and it's going to help this transition into what we're about to break down today. All right? Right now, it says right here, specter of election chaos raises questions on military role. It's a question Americans are unaccustomed to considering in a presidential election campaign. Could voting, vote counting, or the post-vote reaction become so chaotic that the U.S. military would intervene? It's just regular AOL news. They put it out there every day what they're planning. If you think this scandemic has something to do with a cold, they're implementing the order. I'm going to show you, man, wait till you see what we got in this lesson today, folks, let alone what we're going into tomorrow. They're putting it out there that they're going to cause a chaotic climate to a degree in which military will be needed after the election. This is all planned, folks. Black Lives Matter of the United States. The only news that you're going to get in the United States right now is to vote, racial tension, riots, Black Lives Matter. That's what they've condensed the news down to in America. But there's real-time news going on outside of America, okay, unfiltered. And it so happened that Shaphat is on the outside of this right now, and he's accumulating a lot of news prophetically that we should know. And if Americans knew, we would understand how short of a time we have before judgment comes to Babylon. But what the Academy does, it allows us to actually go in and give you that real-time news that's censored through Western American television, to give you the information of how this scamdemic is affecting the whole earth and its true agenda. Okay? We have some specific topics that's going to get our nation together within this academy, okay? Not just our nation, but the Gentiles who believe in the God of Israel, to get this world together when it comes to the new world to come, the remnant, to understand the kingdom to come. We have a few lessons that we're going to go into and highlight that we're adding in this academy, and I hope you all can join us, okay? Of course, we go into tomorrow the creation of the universe. Who's God? Who are the lesser gods he created? Was there a revolt in heaven before earth was created? And is that cataclysm, is that conflict still playing out in the earth today between good and evil? Well, we're going to go further into that tomorrow and first highlighting who is our God. And how is our God, the creator of the universe, different than the gods of the nations, the gods of the Arabs, the gods of the Europeans? What makes the God of Israel different? Well, it's first going into the scriptures and breaking down his power in the beginning, which will segue us into our second week lesson. Our second week lesson in the academy will be God's purpose for man and woman. Because in the creation of the universe, the Most High started with the first family. And there's an eternal purpose for family that began back then. Just that through feminism, through Satanism, through Luciferian doctrine, through a straight rebellious type of teaching, indoctrination within our earth, we have went away from our original purpose with God. Okay? So it's our eternal roles, according to why we were created, man and woman. And by putting it that way, it lets man, woman to understand what our priorities should be when it comes to family, understanding that that's a representation of the image of God that made us all from the beginning. So second week, we're really going to delve into God's purpose for man and woman, our eternal roles. Not being accusatory, not attacking people for what they didn't know, whatever the case is, because we've all made mistakes. But to get us back on track before the end, because we're in the end. And we have to do what's needed for the little time we have left. Another lesson that we have actually put inside this particular academy is Rome holding the scarlet dagger, the identification of Rome, and how Rome's intention, which when it was established and gained its power, Rome is Esau. That they knew they had a certain amount of time, which is the last 35 jubilees that was prophesied from Christ's birth, to kill off the elect, mainly the children of Israel, pointing to Judah first. That's why they wanted to kill Christ. Before the judgment. They knew they would have a certain amount of time before the judgment. And it was Rome, and it's still Rome, holding the scarlet dagger. And we're going to go into Rome in our breakdown and our total lesson in week 5. We're going to do it in week 5. Who's Edom? Rome holding the scarlet dagger. We're going to show you that molestation and all that, it's not by chance. Everything they're doing is a religious sacrifice to their God. That's why there'll always be children molested to Moloch or to their god Samuel. It'll always happen because it's part of their religious traditions and sacrificing to their god. We're going to go into that because they wanted to kill Christ, folks. It was Herod, the Edomites, the Idumean, that sought Christ's life at birth. That was a religious sacrifice they were looking to do to kill the Savior before we would awaken to bring forth the information like you hear today. So we're going to chronologize that historically to show you Rome's true intentions against God's people. Rome holding the scarlet dagger. And since we've been getting so much, I wouldn't say pushback, but response from some of our teachings on the history that they had concerning Christ's genealogy, linking to the fact that Joseph, his father, links to the kings of Judah. We're going to go into a lesson on the kings as well as the kings of Israel. And we're going to title this one, when we break down Christianity, The Immaculate Deception. We're going to do a complete lesson in the academy titled The Immaculate Deception. Give you the dates on when they begin to propagandize that, the same way they're doing this scamdemic right now. They use propaganda to instill it into the mindsets of people. And instead of an immaculate conception, you're going to find, when you do the research on who was behind this, you're going to find it was an immaculate deception. That's going to be in our Hebrew and Bible Academy. We have 3 or 4 brand new lessons that you don't want to miss. And for the sake of getting brothers and sisters in before it's over, okay, before we dove in, because we're going to just be focused on the lesson starting tomorrow. We got Elder Lawyer starting off with the Hebrew 101, breaking down the letters and how you can begin to understand Hebrew. And folks, we're going directly in with Shabbat, with the news, and then I'm going to come in with myself and Elder Lawyer with You Got It, the creation of the universe. So we have our administration that's going to stand on standby and work around the clock, okay? If you want to enroll, you can do it right after the academy. Just go to historytimes.org. This is one academy for the next 3 months you don't want to miss. And keep in mind, we're doing this. We're going to do this in the midst of everything that's going on right now. So that means not only will you have our Sabbath lessons, you'll also have, brothers and sisters, real-time news and prophetic understanding in the midst of what they are about to do. And that's why I titled this right before the academy, folks, tomorrow, because it's like what I've tried to do through the Spirit of the Most High is transition where we go straight from our Wednesday class into our Sabbath and tie it right into the lesson we're going into for the academy. So it's like flawlessly transitioning, enlightening, giving information that's needed in real time. So that's how we've structured this. So what I suggest you do, because when the news is going on and certain things are happening outside the earth and all that, and you're not doing anything on Sunday, come in Sunday and check out what's going on. Get in the academy and get that information, because as you can see, just like this COVID thing, narrative change from day to day, there's new news coming out every single day. Go to historytimes.org and enroll. Okay. Now, it's one thing I wanted to show real quick, right? Let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up. And it's really a transition. We're transitioning. All this news I'm about to go into really is linking directly into what we'll be talking about today. Let me pull it up before I finally bring the lawyer in. Historytimes.org. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I Hold on. I'm going to make sure that I put the link in the chat so you all can have it too, okay? We're going into that. There's a few things in the news. AOL, right? There's a few things I'm going to show y'all real quick that's going to transition, and it's going to help this transition into what we're about to break down today. All right. Right now, it says right here, specter of election chaos raises questions on military role. It's a question Americans are unaccustomed to considering in a presidential election campaign. Could vote counting, or the post-vote reaction become so chaotic that the U.S. military would intervene? It's just regular AOL news. They put it out there every day what they're planning. If you think this scandemic has something to do with a cold, they're implementing the order. I'm going to show you, man. Wait till you see what we got in this lesson today, folks, let alone what we're going into tomorrow. They're putting it out there that they're going to cause a chaotic climate to a degree in which military will be needed after the election. This is all planned, folks. This was planned well before this. Okay? Next. How do I know it was planned before this and this breaks down into our lesson? Israel 365. I check out their news sometime, right? I stay on them, right? I stay looking into what they're doing, right? Let me slide over here so you all can see it. This was last year, folks. The Sanhedrin to host conference of 70 nations to take place on anniversary creation of the world. And the anniversary of the creation of the world. And this was July 10th, 2019. Where the Sanhedrin was breaking down, coming into the information, folks, of setting a conference. Now, Trump touched on this last year, but in passing. This is big. It was because what we see right here in 2019, everyone in the earth is going through what they're going through now under this scamdemic. That was a tipping point, sounding a trumpet to bring in, you got it, the last few years in which they would have to get rid of the 12 tribes of Israel throughout the earth once identified through what? Through identifying our genetics to take us out. It started right here. The Sanhedrin to host a conference of 70 nations to take place on the anniversary of the creation of the world. Nations answer call. Now, why is this deep? Because the Sanhedrin were responsible for the council that killed Christ. Let me repeat that again. The Sanhedrin was responsible for the council that led to Christ's crucifixion. And they began to do what right after that, subsequent to that? To kill off the apostles and to destroy Jerusalem in 70 AD. Now, when I look at this Sanhedrin council, and we touched on this last year in the news, the Hebrew and Bible Academy news, folks, that was a marker, a tipping point. Because under the Kabbalah, in particular, the Lurianic Kabbalah, they're looking at times according to Jubilees of the creation of the earth. And when they blew that trumpet last year, going into their Rosh Hashanah, keep in mind there's a law on their Yom Kippur of last year. The same laws from year to year. That they can do as much wickedness as they would like, as long as before the atonement, the priests take in their what you call confessions, and then do some type of ritual to take all of their sins and wickedness that they have accumulated throughout the year and cast it into the scapegoat of Azazel to sacrifice their sins in respect of their God, the God they worship, Samael. So every year they do this, folks. They do this. So it doesn't matter what evil they do on the earth. They feel they are absolved because their sins are forgiven and cast into the goat. Every Yom Kippur. So last year was a different one where they found a red heifer to do what? To actually sacrifice, and also a goat that they can put all their sins into. So it doesn't matter. All the wars they're responsible for, all the evil they're doing, they feel, listen, we are emotionally and consciously absolved because all of our sins have been forgiven. Our high priest, which is a wizard, has cast all of our spirits, all the evil that we've done, into the goat, Samael. So they did this last year. And they sound the trumpet before the 70 nations. Folks, that might be something small to you. But the 70 nations is what? The 70 nations is a leadership council led, folks, listen to me clearly, by fallen gods. The 70 angels that came down during the Tower of Babel to split the tongues are the gods or princes over all the nations. So what do? Right at the end of this council, they realize that the next Yom Kippur would give them a space of a certain amount of time to come against the children of Israel, in which there will be 3.5 years of good and 3.5 years of bad. And what happened? March. It started. They began to engineer a process that would lead to them killing off our people right up under our nose using a scamdemic, right on schedule. Now, how do we got their schedule? We don't deal with the Kabbalah. We realized they've been trying to find. They knew our schedule because they knew about the 364 days calendar well before the Most High gave it to us. So not only did the Most High give us the schedule to get on code with the Most High and his holy days, it also gave us a window into their evil and how much time they would have to implement their system against the children of Israel. It's called Lurianic Kabbalah. And I'm going to be going into some of this in the academy, breaking down Judaism and how there's many schools of mysticism under Judaism. Judaism isn't just one religion in of itself. It's a combination of all the witchcraft and sorcery of all the nations in a combination, in an evil cocktail that Satan have created to destroy the earth, mainly to kill off God's people. So we're right on schedule, folks. And that's why the Most High gave us that calendar. And I'm going to be going into that a little bit today because I have to break it down, because we have to talk about, now that we know what the devil's doing, we have to understand how to prepare. How to prepare. All right. Elder Lawyer, are you ready, young man?
Sure.
Say that again, because your first words didn't register.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is this clear?
You are loud and clear. Let me try one other thing here on this side. One moment. Okay. Okay, we good. The microphone is good. It's fine. All right, let's go. Elder Lawyer, you have anything to say before I jump in? Because you know we ready to go. Surviving the end of the world. We have almost 3,000 people in, but yet only 1,800 hit the likes. Do us a favor. I need you all, doesn't cost you anything, to hit the like button for me. Just real quick, and we're going to go into this. That's right, surviving the end of the world. And for those who just come in, 4 new lessons in our academy starting next week. We're going into the creation of starting tomorrow, October the 11th. God's purpose for man and woman, our eternal roles. We're going to show you how feminism and all that evil that they're teaching have diverted man and woman from our true purposes as parents. God's purpose for man and woman. And that comes with a sacrifice. It's not exactly what you want in this world. Okay, that comes with sacrifice. And through sacrifice comes legacy. Okay. How are we remembered? Family. Man and woman, the purpose of God, our eternal roles will be a new lesson. Rome holding the scarlet dagger. Who's Esau? Is going to be a lesson. The immaculate deception. The immaculate deception and the history of it will be a lesson. Did Christ, was Joseph Christ's father, and is there proof of it?
I didn't get that.
Boy, I'm going to tell you right now, folks. We're going to ruffle some feathers in this academy. So I need you all to, and do me a favor. That's why, you know what, I have my chat up right now because some of y'all just be getting all beside y'all self. We need y'all to act. Yeah, I need y'all to keep this thing in church and not go at each other in this comment board. Is for the duration of this lesson.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, historytimes.org. I put it up there if you'd like to be a part of it. And thank you for hitting that like button, even though y'all about 700 off. I'm over 2,000, so it's okay. So let's go. God's purpose for man and woman, week 2. You don't want to miss that. Elder Lawyer, you have anything to say before we jump in?
Sure. No, sir. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's go. Surviving the end of the world. First of all, we have to identify, like I showed you, how the rabbis got together last year and blew a trumpet leading into their Yom Kippur. And that trumpet was what? Based on the Kabbalah, the time, since the creation of the universe. So they'll understand, okay, let's blow the trumpet and begin the plan to do what? To end the children of Israel before the second coming. We need to end them. And the trumpet was blown in Israel last year. And now we see this pandemic, and just a coincidence that through this so-called scamdemic, only the Black and Hispanic and the North American Indians and where we reside is the threat that they must cure or help. No, it's war. Let's get it in Daniel 9 real quick, Elder Lawyer. We'll tell you 70 weeks is accomplished.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse number 24. 70 weeks are determined.
Hold up. Let me make it clear though. And before I say that, the Hebrew Bible Academy, keep in mind, folks, for 3 months, for a full 3 months, it's only $150. It's 2 payments of $75. I've broken this down. That's less than $1.30 a day. Now, there's frivolous things we just throw $1.30 at. I mean, if I was to go buy a cup of coffee, that's $4 or $5. And purposely, since we have done this academy, even though we've gotten more equipment, buildings, and all that to actually do these things in with utilities, we've never gone up on the price, not once, in respect of how little we know our people have. So I need y'all to weigh that out when you say that, okay, I would like to be in it, but I don't have much. We made sure that we broke it down where you can only do it for, it's only in a 3 month period, it only breaks down to $1.30 a day. Okay, I just want to put that out there for you. Okay. Now, let's go there, Elder Lawyer.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse number 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy.
And to anoint the most holy. And it said 70 weeks are determined. Most people, including Christians, who've been studying this are confused or conflicted with this 70 weeks. They believe the 70 weeks is a time in which the temple was built under Nehemiah, going into this and going into that. You're off. It tells us in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, that they should think to change times and laws. Daniel 7 and 25. So you can't go off of history that's distorted by the enemy. But one thing one cannot distort is the heavenly calendar. The Jubilees from the heavens, when the Most High decreed judgment on the enemies, that never changed. So don't forget, when Daniel seen this vision, they were taken up. They were shown things from a heavenly perspective concerning the judgment on earth. Same thing with John. They were taken. So we're dealing with a heavenly count. So that's 70 weeks that are determined. And guess what? The Jewish rabbis know this. The 70 weeks that are determined are speaking of the last 70 Jubilees. Okay, the last 70. You had 50 Jubilees between Adam, or the fall of Adam, and the giving of the law. Moses receiving the law. It was 50 Jubilees. Then the 70 Jubilees come because with the law comes the judgment. The judgment that was given to Moses isn't just to judge man. Know ye not that ye shall judge angels? So the law was given to us to judge all disobedience under our Savior, even the fallen ones, even the gods the Gentiles serve. So that's what that law was given. So when you count 35 Jubilees between the giving of the law, you'll have the birth of Christ. And they wanted to kill Christ at that Jubilee, understanding the heavenly tables, the heavenly schedule. Herod was ready with the scarlet dagger. Then you have another 35 Jubilees from Christ's birth until his coming. until his coming, another 35 jubilees. So there was 1,750 years between Moses getting the law and Christ's birth. 1,750 years. And another 1,750 would be what? The Roman Empire from Christ's birth. The end of the world is that last 35 jubilees to come against the children of the kingdom, to do away with us altogether, to accomplish the scattering of God's people. And guess what, folks? We're at the end of it. We're near the end of it and must prepare for it. 90% of the earth will fall. Will fall through this. But the remnant will see the light and prepare accordingly. And that's what we're here for today. Surviving the end of the world. Elder Lawyer, I need you to go to Daniel's 12 real quick, where it says where it's accomplishing the scattering of God's people.
This is Daniel chapter 12. And I'll start. Let's see here. I'll start in verse number 7.
Yes.
Daniel chapter 12, verse number 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people.
When he shall accomplish to scatter the power of the holy people. The holy people are the children of Israel. The scattering began right after Christ. They began to attack the apostles. They killed Christ, attacked the apostles. We're talking about the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin is controlling Israel right now. And then after that, subsequent to that, they burned the cities of Rome, blame it on black Jews, and they began to kill us and destroy us in our homeland. And at that point, we lost Jerusalem, ran into Africa. Read.
The rest of verse number 7. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished.
Now, Elder Lawyer, now let me read this in the Septuagint, which is an older translation of the Old Testament that was translated into Greek. And I heard the man clothed in linen, who was over the water of the river. We know that's Christ. And he lifted up his right hand and his left hand to heaven, and sware by him that lives forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half a time. When the dispersion is ended, they shall know all things. When Israel is scattered at the very end, we will begin to realize we are the children of Israel. And this is why Amalek, mainly the Jewish people, the Jewish machine, have been playing us close since the civil rights movement. To see when they'll begin to hear in number, uncontrollable numbers, blacks staking claim, listen to this, staking claim to their true identity as Jews. That's why they've been playing us close. See? At the very end, they shall know all things. The black people and Hispanic people, North American Indian people, the indigenous people of Hawaii and all that, we all know now. Read the 8th verse, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 8. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, Which shall be the end of these things?
What shall be the end of these things? Give me a clue. So Daniel didn't even understand at this time, because why? The book was shut up until the times of the end. We understand. The Most High gave us the schedule. He gave us the calendar. See? And what y'all don't know, for those who, let me pull this up again. Let me pull it up again. I'll pull it up here so you can all see it. For those who missed it. One moment. I showed it earlier. The Sanhedrin to host a conference of 70 nations to take place on the anniversary of creation of the world. Now, how would they know the anniversary of the creation of the world if they didn't know the true schedule of time outside of these felonious, these the 7 angels who separated the 70 tongues? The original split of tongues were 70 nations. And there's one God that these people worship that's above the 70. And his name is Samael, Satan. That's their God. So they know exactly how much time they would have before their God, Samael, is sacrificed or bound or killed altogether, taken out of power. Where it tells us in the book of Isaiah, is this the man that made the world to tremble? That's the God of the Jewish people. His name is Samael. He's the 71st God. Every other nation has a God, and Samael is the 71st over all of them. And this is what they teach and know, folks. They teach and know this in their so-called synagogues. Under Lurianic Kabbalah. Lurianic Kabbalah. They've been dealing with this Kabbalah to schedule a time in which they could come against our people. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse number, Daniel chapter 12, verse number 9. And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white.
Many shall be purified and made white. Many shall be baptized. Many shall change their ways, come to the light. Read.
Wicked shall do wickedly.
But guess what? Even though we're in the midst of the most prophetic time on earth, the evil and the wicked will continue to be wicked. Read.
None of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand.
But the wise shall understand. Read.
11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days.
And 1,290 days. This breaks down to a time and a half of times. And when you go into the Jubilees, it still breaks down when you look at it from the time of Christ's birth up into his coming. It's just that when these people, the Babylonians, came into play, they began to deal with things from the lunar calendar. That's why you see that number. But that number is the earthly number. The heavenly number of Jubilees is 1,750. So what they'll do is, at the very end, they broke it down to where from the heavenly breakdown, it's jubilees from Christ's birth up until the time he judged their god, Samael. But then on the earth, when you break it down, that 1,290 days is the dates that they will get to literally, and which they would have to come against God's people. 3.5 years that they would make a campaign to begin to attack the children of God all over the earth. That's what these vaccines are about. That's what this scamdemic is about. To put it out there to claim it's harming all people, but the bullseye is on a specific people. They'll be like, well, we're going to target certain zip codes. And when you look at the zip codes, it's where black people are. See? It's prophecy, folks. This is the scamdemic. This is them attacking God's people at the end. Now, even though it's what it is, the death numbers that they're putting out there will be real eventually. Because once they get the military in play and have all other people believe this nonsense, the people will rally behind the army to kill our people, the same as they did when they created a lynch mob through lies to kill our Savior. The people will just follow the mob. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse number?
Read the 11th verse again.
Yes, sir. Verse 11. And from that time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 2,000.
No, go ahead.
Or there should be 1,000, Salakia. There should be 1,290 days.
So they've been counting that time so that they can now blow a trumpet to sound amongst all who understand under their geomantra or Kabbalah. The time now is ripe to kill off God's people. They're distracted. They don't know any better. They're out there sinning. They're doing evil. They're having hot girl summers. The guys are just out of their minds. The kings are asleep. Kill them now. Why? Because there's a remnant waking everyone up, including the wicked. Even those that were wicked are turning to God now. If we're going to get the numbers of sacrificial Israelites to Samael, we have to do it before Christ begin to hedge and to protect the wicked. Let's get them while they're still laden in sin. And we have a 3.5 year period to do it. And in the midst of it, because they read the book of Daniel, they have the book of Daniel in Hebrew. They know that even though we're in a prophetic time for those who are watching, there'll be a number of our people still doing wickedness and promoting wickedness in the earth. They knew that. So they say, let's do it now. It's no better ripe time now than to sacrifice all these evildoers and their children to Samael. Read on.
Verse number 12. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,305 days.
Now check that out though. Even though it's 3.5 years, blessed are those who can make it beyond that. How many people will actually make it through this tribulation? And you know, the majority of people know that, okay, it's a scamdemic. But nonetheless, the earth powers under the 70 demons they worship are going to play it out politically, real time, as if it's real. They're going to create artificial scarcity, which means they're going to tell people there's a famine. They're going to stop stocking, and they already have. They have already stopped stocking the food reserves. Let me pull this up for those who missed it. So they planning this thing. They check out what they're about to do now. Look at your screen. This is UK news. And of course, I can't wait to what Shapad has tomorrow. But anyway, Rishi gets tough. Chancellor plans to freeze benefits and state pay as Treasury staff mock Boris Johnson's COVID mass testing plans. Now that people are pushing back, it's like, well, okay. See, this was planned last year, folks. They've been years moving up to the point where they would blow the trumpet in Israel and announce to the earth that they're under the 70. The same 70 angels they worship way back at the Tower of Babel are in these councils with them. Pull back the food, starve them out. Eventually they'll bow to us. They'll bow to Samuel. They'll bow to Satan, and they'll honor you as God's people. You'll become the new philanthropists. You'll become the new saviors because you will have power over the food storage and the food reserve. So they'll now acknowledge you and uphold you as God's people. Let me blow this up a little bit. Anything you have, you can come in anytime. All right, you good? Okay, do me a favor and hit the like button real quick so we can move this up and see if we can get this up past 4,000. Because we think everyone needs to see this. We need YouTube to drive this information because, hey, and I have to keep it as guarded as I can without breaking any YouTube rules. But I guess I can go in it unfiltered more so tomorrow. But it says Rishi Sunak is considering a freeze on benefits and public sector pay as he tries to get a grip on the spiraling cost of coronavirus pandemic and boost his own political ambitions. Look at this. They're talking about freezing the social pay. Now we know that, especially in the UK, what's the percentage of people that are on social benefits and social housing? We told you they're going to, and guess what, folks? When this stuff start breaking out in the United States and they start freezing welfare pay to get people under control, you talking about chaos. You talking about mayhem. Are you kidding me? Look at this here. Digital health passports. This is LifeSite. Digital health passports roll out for air travelers tracking status vaccination proof. You're going to need to show proof of your vaccinations. And we know those things are deadly. The research is out already on some of these tests, folks, where people are coming up with a straight migraine for 48 hours. Can you imagine having a migraine headache for 48 hours? That's just the beginning. They coming down with all types of illnesses during these trials. This is an attack on God's people. Starting next week, two major airlines, United and Cathay Pacific, will start trials at Heathrow, London, with new smartphone. This is primarily England right now because they was able to take the guns away from them. They was able to take protection away from them. Will start trials at Heathrow, London, with new smartphone software that acts as a digital health passport for travelers. It's going to be called Common Pass. Are you kidding me? The devils blew the trumpet last year. Biblical prophecy unfolding from Israel 365 News, but they didn't let us in on what the news was. That they were about to come after our people, understanding that they must get a grip on this before Christ returns and judge their wicked behinds. But they must kill off God's people. If they kill off God's people, then there'll be no one for the Messiah to come back for. As soon as they blew these trumpets, here you go. Evil began to ensue. Laws were made, draconian laws that would come against God's people. But you know what? Our God knew they would try this. He knew exactly what they would do. And that leads us to preparing. Whoever is not under the hedge of the Almighty and get their lives right according to God will be a sacrifice to their God. Straight out. Okay? And there's not going to be no conversation of how I grew up, my background, and that's why I can't get on track. Or no, that's what many shall be made pure is about. So that you don't have to look back and have regret on what happened in the past, because Christ washed that away. Get right now while there's opportunity. Elder Lawyer, let's go to Thessalonians.
Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse number 3.
Hold on 1 second. Let me turn you down just a little. All right, go ahead.
Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse number 3. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Let no man deceive you by any means. Read.
That day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
Read that again. Read that again. That day shall not come,
except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
And that man of sin be revealed. So even Paul was writing, listen. That day shall not come unless there be a falling away first. So Israel must lose their identity. Speaking of our people, be taken into captivity and scattered throughout the earth like it was prophesied in Daniel. That the scattering must be accomplished first. And at the end of that, we must know who? The ministers of Satan. We must identify his hand in the earth through these people. We must know who are the children of the devil. See? That man of sin be revealed. Read.
Son of perdition.
The son of perdition. Notice it says the Sanhedrin to host a conference of 70 nations. And how is our people, as simple as a day's old in these Christian churches, sending money over there without realizing and understanding the Sanhedrin were responsible for killing Christ and destroying the true bearers of light, the apostles. It was them throwing us in jail and killing us. But yet you're going to send money over there talking about they're the people. What's wrong with Christians? Here it is, our people suffering all in the neighborhoods, all in the ghetto, and you want to send money over to some people who have a land already, who have substance already. And they're going to take all that money that you think is going towards them to fund institutions and evil think tanks like the Rockefeller Foundations, like the Gates Foundations. All that money you give them, they're putting it into warfare against us. Let's read it.
4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Showing himself that he is God. So that prophecy that Paul was speaking of, writing to the church of Thessalonica, is in effect now, where they'll be in the land, claiming to be us, sitting in the temple like us, claiming to be God's people, worshiping their God, Samael. And he's sitting there. Who's Samael? He's their God. And where do he reside? Well, he has a nice cushy spot at the Dome of the Rock, the Golden Dome of the Rock, where Muslims and Jews worship. He's in there. That's one of his abodes. Samael. See, we didn't know that at first. See, the Bible says Christ wasn't going to come until it's revealed. Who's these people and who are their God? Who do they call this God they worship? We thought all things are relative. Well, we're all just dealing with different religions under different languages, but at the height of all of our religions, we all believe in the same God. No. The Israelites' God is different than the Romans' God. Our God is different than the Arab God. No. So the Most High say, when we begin to awaken out of sleep, we'll realize worshiping their gods has been death for us, destruction for us. So we're going to start to be able to identify the difference in these religions, in their worships, and start to say, well, hold up. I don't want nothing to do with Buddha. I don't want nothing to do with Krishna or any other God. I don't want nothing to do with Samael, which is the God of Judaism. See? Let me tell you, I went into it this morning. I'm like, I'm going to talk about this and segue to the academy, because there's a lot of history we have to bring forth, because that man of sin must be revealed. And you think it's just the people. It's deeper than just them. It's the gods they worship at the round table of the 70. These are the 70 angels, folks, that came down and split the tongues. Even in Syria right now, that mountain in Syria, folks, that paramount, it tells you about that mountain in the book of Enoch, where the angels came down before the flood and dealt with women and brought forth Nephilim, Mount Hermon. It's a gateway between this earth and the heavenly realm. And guess what? NATO has a flag at the top of Mount Hermon till this day. They've always interacted and got their information from fallen gods whom they teach in the earth in these ridiculous history channels as aliens. No, these are not aliens. These are high intelligent beings from the beginning. Fallen ones who are doing everything to keep us down to what? To divert or overt their judgment. That's where these guys are getting their info from. But Christ said, but it was even taught in the epistles that time will not come until that man of sin be revealed. And we're revealing them. We're revealing them. And you know what? They're not hiding who they are either. Everything that I'm saying, that I'm talking about, the Lorianic Kabbalah, and the different schools of mysticism and witchcraft and sorcery that's amongst that religion of Judaism, they don't hide that. They don't dispute it. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse number 5.
Yes.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
That he might be revealed in his time. Read.
7. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who letteth will now letteth, or he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way.
Until he be taken out of the way. Now, for those who don't know, the 70 nations represents the Tower of Babel. The first split of the Tower of Babel was split into 70 nations. Now, the deep thing about that, what I shown earlier, is that 70 was split by 70 angels at the Tower of Babel. These angels became gods, the original gods that were worshipped by Noah's children on this side of the flood. These are princes over each nation. So when you read the prince and all that in the Old Testament, the majority of the times it's not talking about a prince that was amongst men. It was talking about a leader like the Prince of Tyrus, a god worshipped. And here we are now. You had the Prince of Persia that it talks about in the book of Daniel. You had the prince that's over the Greeks, Samael. The Romans, Samael. So you got 70 angels that are over the 70 nations of the original split of the Tower of Babel. But you got one above them all that the people in Israel today worship. His name is Samael, Satan. He's the one that created and made the tree of good and evil. He's the God of Esau. Some people call him Satan. Some people call him Lucifer. But they know him as Samael. See, it had to be revealed at the end so that everyone will understand that these people outright worship the devil. In plain sight. Some of our people are ignorant to the fact and believe just because they call themselves a certain name, they can loosely connect themselves with Christ, and you believe that they're just good old Christians or good old this or good old that. No, even the Messianic ones, they're even more dangerous because they're coming in the name of Christ, claiming to be the people. Let's go.
Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Read.
9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
And lying wonders. They're liars. Here's a lying wonder. Let's just put something out there in the media and have the whole earth run around with masks on. Even though we don't witness any of this in the earth, the magic is so great. Our magic wand and sorcery is so great. We'll have people fearing to be around the other people who can help them while we attack them and their children. Check out that magic. They're not judging according to their eyes. They see that nothing is really going on amongst them. But through misinformation, through lying wonders, we'll have them to believe that anyone next to them at any time can become their enemy by spreading a disease to them. And have the whole earth running around scared straight because number one, they don't know the Bible. They don't know prophecy. So because they don't understand the times, they'll believe anything we're claiming. Lying wonders. And then you go amongst them and say, well, why aren't your children with masks on? Why are your children on school buses and walking around like we're not in the midst of a scamdemic? And they'll look at you and write out and say, well, yeah, we've been given the antidote. We're fine. The antidote for them is common sense. See? Read.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. For this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
Now, because people don't want to trust in the Bible, don't want to believe in God, don't want to believe the truth concerning prophecy, he says he's going to send you a strong delusion that you should believe a lie. Everything the enemy bring forth, believe it then. Every lie that the sorcerers bring forth, you're going to believe it. And then you go amongst them and say, well, why aren't your children with masks on? Why are your children on school buses and walking around like we're not in the midst of a scamdemic? And they'll look at you and write out and say, well, yeah, we've been given the antidote. We're fine. The antidote for them is common sense. See? Read.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. For this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
Now, because people don't want to trust in the Bible, don't want to believe in God, don't want to believe the truth concerning prophecy, he says he's going to send you a strong delusion that you should believe a lie. Everything the enemy bring forth, believe it then. Every lie that the sorcerers bring forth, you're going to believe it. Why? Because you have denounced the God of the Bible. You've actually totally renounced and denounced the book who could actually give you an insight on exactly what's going on. You've rejected it. So if you don't reject the Bible, which is truth, you're left with nothing but what? Lies. And if you believe these delusions, you will be the first domino to fall. Come on.
Number 12. That they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Verse 13. But we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth.
And belief of the truth. So these are the remnants that will be saved, who will survive the end of the world, folks. These people are grounded and are not swayed through delusion. These are grounded people in the Almighty who will survive the end of the world. You're not taken by the media's delusion. You're not caught up and easily triggered through the media. You cannot be easily controlled and triggered through your emotions and be moved like pawns on their chessboard. You trust in God. You trust in the Almighty, not the media, not these false preachers, false pastors. They're going to engineer a famine in this earth. And guess what? In order to survive, you must understand a famine is coming. Even if it's engineered like this scamdemic. And prepare. And some people say, well, hold up. If I believe in the Most High, why should I prepare anything? Well, the example I can give you is during the time of Egypt, there was a real 7-year famine coming. And he put it in the heart of Joseph, the father of Ephraim, the so-called Baliqua Taino Puerto Ricans. He put it in the spirit of Joseph to prepare a store that would actually survive the 7-year famine that would come subsequent. I mean, to survive the 7-year famine that would come subsequent to the 7-year plenteous. So yeah, Joseph had faith, but he wasn't going to sit back. And how many times I hear people say, well, I got to let God, I'm going to just let God, do what he have to do. and it's gonna be through God something is going to change. That's an absolutely ridiculous mindset. Faith without works is dead. Joseph just wasn't going to sit back and say, well, let me wait till the God of Abraham come and bring me some food. No, he says, no, you're going to have to work. I'm telling you it's coming. Food grows in the earth. Okay? It grows in the earth. No angels down there just getting some food together and bringing it to Joseph's house. It doesn't work that way. Somebody had to till the ground for that food to be stored. So it's enough the Most High warned you of a famine. For you to, he did his job. And we'll sit back and say, well, I'm going to wait for God. God has the answer that's going to change my life. One day God is going to do this and one day God is going to do that. I mean, what type of slave belief we have in this earth? All through the Bible, when you read through the Bible, it took works for God to manifest his power in the earth. He manifests his power through the works of man. So if he warned you and the prophets received the information to deliver it, that's God telling us what to do. Before the destruction. Example, let's go, Elder Lawyer. Let's go to Genesis.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 41, verse 17.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood up upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine, and when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them up, but they were still ill-favored, as at the beginning. So I awoke. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good, and behold, 7 ears withered thin and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears, and I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh,
now this was Pharaoh of Egypt, who kept having this reoccurring nightmare and could not understand what it meant for the empire. The magicians, which are the Chaldeans today, the wise men, or the president council, had no answers. So Joseph, being a child of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the Most High gave him the answer. See? Let's go.
Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God have showed Pharaoh what he is about to do.
Come on.
The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty years, blasted with the east wind, shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great and plenty throughout all the land of Egypt, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that time the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass.
So Joseph broke it down. So what happened? He was appointed as a Pharaoh in Egypt by the Pharaoh and said, only in the throne will I have more power, Joseph. Joseph is Imhotep within Egyptian history. His name is Imhotep. It was the only so-called Pharaoh, or who they call a Pharaoh, who was known to believe in one God as an Egyptian. See? Because when Joseph came on the scene with his brother, they made a decree to all of the priests to take all the idols out of the temples, because it was our God that saved Egypt and made Egypt a superpower in the Mesopotamian region. Up until this time, the wealth and all that was spread liberally throughout the whole area. But through this famine, Egypt was able to consolidate all the golden resources and all the riches for exchange of food, bartering. This is what made Egypt rich, is because our God came at a time in which Egypt needed, that's right, an answer, politically and otherwise, to survive. And this is how it has always been throughout the earth. Okay? And I have records on papyrus papers that prove that the famine happened. I have the records. And it was our God who saved Egypt. So all you guys, these Egyptologists, you need to wake up. It was always you. It was always your people in the time of need. And here we are now. How long have we been telling brothers and sisters to prepare for the worst, that they're going to pull back food? Don't be out there in the chaos in which you'll be dependent on the system to live or die for lack of food. Here we are. They're going to pull the plug. Even when this election comes, all types of crazy things are built into this election to come that could go wrong. Mail-in ballots and this, that. You hearing people mail in. I mean, are you kidding me? They're creating a toxic mess that they know will lead to chaos, will lead to revolts. And through that, the military is going to have to commandeer all the food and all that and ration to do what? To keep order. All this is planned, folks. And you are not to be out there in those lines waiting for substance to feed your children. Not you. You're not going to believe the delusion. You're going to have enough to feed your children to get through, to get to that time that it's spoken of in Daniel. So you're not in the wake of the chaos, and you could be moved to safety. That's what you're going to do. Okay. Now the wicked and those who aren't preparing at all, they're going to be at the behest of the government's food supply. And because of that, you'll be able to get your rations for exchanges, like your children, like the vaccination, like all these things they're going to put there and say, you can keep your housing and your Section 8, but we need your children and we need you to get these vaccinations. It's coming. Elder Lawyer, let's go to 2nd Ezra 16 in the Apocrypha, if you all can follow us there. And I need you to start at 17, Elder Lawyer. And when I say it, listen. There's already products that you used to get that are no longer on the shelves. Okay? When you go shopping, when you go to the markets, make it your position to shop every day and grab something. You're only getting enough food so that you're not caught up in the lines when it's time for you to be moved from one place to the next. You're not caught up. Get some food every day. And when you get some food, get extra cans. Get dry goods, water, food that can last during a space of chaos. Because if you, for those who haven't prepared, usually what happens when chaos ensues, what happens is those who haven't prepared immediately panic. And that's what caused all the riots and all that stuff you see today for those who didn't understand the times. You're not going to be that. You're going to sit there until the dust settles. You're not going to have a need to go out amongst the chaos. You're going to have everything you need to protect what you stored. And you're not going to tell people all over the place that you have anything. You have to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You're not going to put out there and start talking to people. You better get some extra food. You better do this. You better. It's no time for that anymore. They're going to know you have food. You pick yourself some extra cans, extra bags of rice, extra resources of water. Get containers of water. Fill them up. Barrels of water. Fill them up and let the storm pass you. Because Satan is going to be sitting back and saying, listen, they're going to run to me. They've been socialized like a herd, like animals. If they don't come, who cares? Let them starve out and die. We're going to commandeer and take all the food banks. We're going to, under these new emergency laws, take control of all the supermarkets. And we know they're not used to storing anything. We don't have to go to them. The world going to come to us. Israel is socialized like animals. They're going to come to us and we'll kill them in herds. See? Huh?
One of the best things you said was like
a
real man or a real woman, when they realize they have a deficiency in a certain area, looks into that and tries to better themselves in a sense. You know what I mean? And that would be something that definitely beyond the food and stuff people should be doing right now.
Exactly.
You know?
And I'm glad Elder Yarak emphasized that a man and a woman, and we're going to go into the purpose of a man and woman second week, is that they'll look at the deficiencies within themselves and begin to fix that, because a sound mind is way more important than some extra canned goods.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on another level,
all right, good point.
Your point also was that, like, let's say you realize you lack a certain skill.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You'll look at those things as well, because they can't take a skill from you. They can take a can of beans from you.
Exactly.
But the skill is now with you. You can now help others with it.
Exactly. And that's another thing. Develop a skill. What was useful at one time in this world will no longer be useful for the world to come. And the world we are now have been acclimated into. So look at your job and look at what you used to do to sustain yourself and understand that's a useless vocation, or that's a useless skill for what's here, for what's coming. So now you have to go into, okay, if I did this or that and the other, this doesn't apply for what's about to happen. Let me develop a skill of survival, for my family. Something that can be utilized and be a benefit for others. So you're an asset when you come amongst a body or come amongst those that have survived. Let me put it that way. Let's go, other lawyer. 2nd Esdras 16 and 17. Let's read it.
2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment.
So the Most High says these things are sent as what? Scourges for amendment. So I looked into this. I'm like, you know what? That man of sin must be revealed. So I looked at this and say, well, okay, the Most High prophesied this famine and what would happen in the earth. And like a lot of us, we say, why don't the Most High just deal with these evildoers? Why don't he just get them out of the way and protect us? Why does he allow these evildoers to continue to conspire against our people, the righteous, the pure? Why? I thought about it. And I did some research this morning. I'm like, you know what? He allowed it because wickedness continues. Our people won't repent. So he had given the power to Samuel, to the serpent, to go against all those who deny the God of gods. He had given them the power to do so and say, well, listen, those who follow me, you cannot touch. Those who are doing right by me are hedged. See? So under their religion, the Lurianic Kabbalah, it's called the Lurianic Kabbalah. And I'm going to be going more into this, the different schools of mysticism in Judaism in the academy. But under the Lurianic Kabbalah in specific, they have a rule that spread out through all Judaism, which the high priests, which are wizards, that they call high rabbis, would take two separate goats. One goat represents Jacob and another goat represents Esau. So any war, any evil, any molestation, any killing, or whatever the case is that they did for the year prior or the year back, they can pray all those sins into the one goat and let that goat loose and be absolved of any punishment because the sin have went into the goat. That's what they believe, and that's what Yom Kippur is. So we have the Day of Atonement in which Christ satisfy our sins as a priest from year to year. We in the Old Testament had a sacrificial lamb before Christ became our sacrificial lamb at the Day of Atonement. They have a goat. They say two goats, one represents Jacob and one represents Esau, the scapegoat, the hairy goat. And they pray their sins, so any war they create, any evil they create, guess what? All the people that have died or are suffering from those sins, they feel they have the power under Samuel to kill and bring that sacrifice to the goat. Satan, Samuel. So they have the right to go against the evil, the wicked. They have a right as being the people of Esau to do so. So why do we continue to give them their pounds of flesh by continual sin against God? That's on us. That's not on them. Our sin allows them to continue. We're feeding the beast. See? This thing is deeper than a lot of you think, folks. We're feeding the beast. I'm going to be touching on these devils all through the academy. I'm going to tell you that right now. But anyway. So they creating. Now, of course, this famine, it will be, in this time, artificial scarcity. Initially, artificial scarcity. But eventually what they're going to try to do is to starve these farmers out and make the land under imminent soils these farmers out and make the land to a degree in which it cannot grow like it used to. They're going to get to the soils and begin to poison the soils where the famine becomes real. While people out riding and doing all these things, they're going to be commandeering and taking property under eminent domain, including farms. They're going to be poisoning the soils. And then that's when the real famine comes. We need to be out of the way before all that. So everything I'm putting forth now is to survive the first wave that gives us leadway to get to a safe place. No sit there talking about what happens and what we're going to do after that if we can't even get past the first point. No sit there talking about the next phase of what to do in preparation if you're not going to make it there. Okay? Let's finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
This is verse number 20. But for all these things, they shall not turn away from, or they shall not turn from their wickedness.
Look at that. He says, even though there'll be famine and all that, but all these things, these people will not turn from their wickedness. That's not Amalek's fault. That's not Esau's fault. That we can't get our houses together. We can't get our families together. We can't be right when it comes to be right to make sure our children are correct. That ain't their fault. And that's why I'm going to be going into this thing about man and woman, our purpose. Listen, the Most High says, you shall know them by their fruit. If our children are all out of control and they're creating chaos in this earth, they are a product of what was planted in them. They are their parents. That means we are creating toxic seed and absolving ourselves by saying, well, I try to tell them what's right or wrong. No, what you see is a product of what they witnessed growing up and was silent because they were children. They couldn't act out their disobedience at that time. But this is what you've created. This is what we've created. And we have to stop absolving ourselves from our responsibility of bringing forth kingdom children. We can't be that selfish to believe that if we have a child that's all out of the pocket and creating chaos in the earth, that we had nothing as man and woman, as father and mother, that we had nothing to do with that. We have a responsibility to not deal. We have to fix our legacy. You can't be looking back. That girl, she done turned from God. She learned what she learned from you. You got a boy out there wrecking shop, selling drugs and all that. He learned that from you. You shall know them by their fruit. And that's literally by the children they produce. So it's time for us to stop dealing with ourselves and what we want personally and fix our legacy. Fix it. Not being all in other areas and all that. No. If we have children out there acting a fool and doing all these things, that's our priority as parents, to put them back on the real path. And that's our position as ambassadors for the Most High on this earth. Our family first, before we can talk about going to fix something in someone else. Let's read it.
Sure. Verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they should think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
And great confusion. Notice it says, because you can still go shopping and get things cheap, people are going to believe it's okay. That's because you're not seeing news like we're reading and reporting on. You're being inundated with Black Lives Matter. These are all distractions, folks, and voting and rock the vote. Let me tell you, folks, that's a low level. There's real-time prophecy going on. There's serious meetings that are going on in our absence that will dictate the future for you and your children. Real time. What is this meeting of the 70 nations about? None of us know that they're talking about us. What are we going to do to get rid of God's people before the reckoning, before the 35 Jubilees is up and we only have a few years left? See? Finish reading.
Verse 21, victuals, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down.
And the city shall be cast down. There's a news report out there that the powers that be have funded over $200 million towards Antifa to burn major cities in the United States if the elections don't turn out like they would like. Now, the whole thing is, this is a purposeful, that's right, plan. So that once the cities are destroyed, they'll never come back. Babylon the Great is fallen. And it's our people, a lot of our people, who will be simple as the days old, will be out there thinking that they're doing something right towards, against or to stop racial injustice. Not realizing you're destroying to your own demise. And they're focusing on this new generation of just deviants who don't know their head from a hole in the ground or just look to be recognized or heard to facilitate or act these things out on earth. And you know what? It's going to happen. They're going to start burning stuff down. And you know what? As soon as they start doing it, the foreign armies dressed up in masks and dressed up like Antifa is going to finish what our ignorant children started. This is where we're going, folks. Finish reading.
24. There shall be no man left till the earth to till the earth and to sow it.
Go down to the 37th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall the plagues, so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side.
Come on.
O my people, hear my word.
And then the Most High is beseeching the people. He's talking about us, the blacks, Hispanics, the North American Indians, the indigenous people, the Jamaicans, the brothers and sisters in Europe, the brothers and sisters in Africa that are spread throughout the earth, the Philippines, Cambodia, our brothers and sisters scattered in Japan and all throughout the earth. He's mentioning our brothers and sisters in South America, in Mexico, in Venezuela, Brazil. He's saying, change your ways. It says, "Oh, my people, hear my word. Come back to your book. Stand in protection with my word. And that's application. That's beginning to walk in the word of God. That's the hedge. Oh, my people, hear my word. That's the Bible. Read.
Be ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth.
Be as pilgrims upon the earth. Be ready to walk away from your homes if need be. Who knows? You may lose them. You may not lose them. You may be able to sell them, living someplace else. Or you may lose it altogether and not be able to recoup anything, but still have the life of you and your children. A pilgrim is bold. A pilgrim is willing to walk away without expecting anything, in total trust of the Almighty, that the angels will guide their paths. Folks, I know what it is to walk away from everything and not have nothing. Into a foreign countries and all that. I know what it is. And that developed a lack of faith that cannot be quantified. Okay? I know what it is. And I'm glad I experienced that. Because I realized that walking away, you're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. It's faith. It's trust in the Almighty. Be like pilgrims in those days. Be willing to walk away and never look back. Be willing to do that. What good is to stay in a house that will become your tomb? Read it again.
Number 40. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Verse 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children.
Hold that real quick. And I want to mention this also, folks. Corporate memos have went out throughout the United States and other Western countries that stating for those people who refuse to take the COVID test, they should no longer have employment. Now, we already figured this out because the experts have come on and said that there's an 85 to 95% chance of what they call a negative positive or a positive negative, where they don't know what it is, but they can tell you it's positive. 85 to 95%, which means they can dictate and tell you at any time any person that took a test have COVID. It depends on where these people stand politically and whether or not they agree with this, whether or not the government or those that are over that corporate scenario, whether or not they deem you a threat to the system will determine on whether or not they say you positive or negative. That means if you are a person that never believed anything and you were saying things and all that, they'll automatically make you a positive to do what? To make you an example to the rest of the herd. They just did this. I'm checking out things with the Tennessee Titans and all that. How the Tennessee governor came out and just said, well, listen, you no longer have to wear a mask and all this because, everything is fine in the state. So they had to make an example and say, well, okay, since you're going to come out and say these things, we're going to say that the Tennessee Titans all have COVID-19 and we're going to stop games until you comply. In your state. So it's used as a corporate hammer for those who don't toe the company line. You think that's a coincidence? 1 week, the governor say you no longer have to wear a mask, and then a week later, we have 8 or 9 or 10 people from the Tennessee Titans have come down with COVID. Because they can, at any time, make someone a positive if they took the test. It's a political tool. It no longer have to wear a mask. And then a week later, for those who don't toe the company line. You think that's a coincidence? 1 week, the governor say you no longer have to wear a mask. And then a week later, we have 8 or 9 or 10 people from the Tennessee Titans have come down with COVID. Because they can, at any time, make someone ask for those who don't toe the company line. You think that's a coincidence? 1 week, the governor say you no longer have to wear a mask. And then a week later, we have 8 or 9 or 10 people from the Tennessee Titans have come down with COVID. Because they can, at any time, make someone a positive if they took the test. It's a political tool. It's being used as a political tool of control. And now the memo done went out to the jobs and say, well, listen, if we just throw them in with the rest of their people and make them poor. No test, no job. So what are you going to do? Well, the Bible says be like pilgrims in that day. Don't worry about it, what you may lose and all that. Because they're going to implode everything anyway. This thing is coming down anyway. So don't compromise yourself and your family, in your lives, your soul for what we know will only end up being a temporal fix. Where are you, Elder Lawyer?
Verse number 46. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 46. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives, for in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will they be angry with them for their sin, saith the Lord. Like as a whore envieth a right honest and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face, when he cometh that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon earth. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. For yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away, or shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you.
Yeah.
Let not the sinner say that he have not sinned.
Now, here's the point. It's tying into our actions now. Because don't forget, we read a few verses up that the Most High is allowing this for amendment. What? Chastisement and judgment against the wicked, and he allowing the evildoers to do it. See? So how do we survive the end of the world? By putting down sin. Read it again. You see how he tied up the earth events and all that and went right back to our personal actions? And guess what? that's on each individual. No one else is responsible for your actions. That's what's so deep about this. Every individual have the right to do right. You can't put that on no one else for why you're not doing right according to the Almighty. Getting yourself together, getting your home together, falling into your original role and purpose according to God, following the law, statutes, and commandments, and getting your house together, your children together. You can't make no excuses for why you're not doing what's right outside of you. That's why the Most High is saying, well, okay, do you want to make it? Do you really want to make it? Read that again, that last piece, Elder Lawyer.
Ezra chapter 16, verse number 53.
Come on.
Let not the sinner say that he have not sinned.
Let not the sinners say that he have not sinned. Read.
God shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which saith before the Lord God and his glory, I have not sinned.
And the Most High is going to put heaps of coals on your heads for the person who says, I have not sinned. No. You have to go to the Almighty, all of us, and say, you know what? I've done wrong. And I'm going to do right going forward for you, Ahiah. I'm going to do what's right in the name of Christ. I'm doing right going forward. Protect me. Hedge me. When I pray, I'm not just going to pray for me. I'm going to pray for my children to remind myself that I'm responsible for them, being kingdom children or demon children. Every time I pray for them, I understand there's a responsibility that I'm hedging them with my prayer, but a responsibility for me to fix my broken children being irresponsible at younger ages, not realizing that they were looking at me, and now I've created, Tasmanian devils on earth. No. We have to begin to fix our wrong. And that's an individual. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Let's read it. Read that last piece.
Yes, sir. Verse 53. Let not the sinner say that he have not sinned, for God shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which saith before the Lord God and his glory, I have not sinned.
Every man have sinned and come short of the glory of the Almighty. So the Most High is saying, the amendment is here. The famine is here. The armies is here. The destruction is here. Repent. Get it right. Everything broken will be broken asunder. Everything not fixed will be beat to powder. Man, woman, and children. You can't expect the Most High to come in and fix it. Judgment is here. And to fix our. Every time I pray for them, I understand there's a sin. No. You have to go. Read that again, that last piece, Elder Lawyer. Say that he have not sinned. Read.
God shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which saith before the Lord God and his glory, I have not sinned.
And the Most High is going to put heaps of coals on your heads for the person who says, I have not sinned. No. You have to go to the Almighty, all of us, and say, you know what? I've done wrong. And I'm going to do right going forward for you, Ahiah. You have to go to the Almighty, all of us, and say, you know what? I've done wrong. And I'm going to do right going forward